Hey everybody in here. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw some bowls. And I'm gonna go ahead and reset my laser so I can start making all the bowls the same size and shape. So this is my first bowl, and I'm gonna set every bowl to the size. All right, got my laser set up. I have the height and the width. Line up right here. Now I can go ahead and start making the rest of the bowls to match. All right, second bowl, let's go. My splash pan's not connected. Here we go. All right, let's do it. Second bowl. Hello to whoever just joined. So we're throwing bowls. These are 1.25 pounds. So I'm not too sure how much kilos that is, but slightly under 1 kilo. These are one of my favorite things to throw. This is for an order for a family member who requested it. And I'm getting paid in babysitting. And I have this laser leveler, you can see, to help me get it the exact size and shape. So I'm throwing it slightly higher than what I need, because when I stretch the clay out, it's going to shrink, and then I'll just cut it to size. Okay, now for my texture, one of my favorite things. And I don't really have a specific pattern. I just kind of rise and fall with the lines, try not to make them overlap each other, and rather crisscross instead. Okay. And shaping, got my trusty rice paddle. So now you can see where the laser lines come into play. And because I have texture, I'm trying not to touch it. And that's the hardest part about throwing with texture lines when you do it before you shape. You kind of go at the whim of how the clay stretches out and hope everything's thrown well. And then you can see the vertical line starting to pop up on the clay. So I'm almost at the size that I need. There's that vertical line. I gotta stretch it out a little more. And any clay above the horizontal line, I'm just gonna cut. So they're all the same height. Now fine tuning the outside. There we go. Got the height. Now we cut. This one, the rim's kind of thin, so next bowl, I know I don't need to pull it up as tall, and I can keep the rim a little thicker. All right. Now for the chamois, too smooth. So I don't really show these on my videos, but this is what I like to use on the rim, and this rounds it out very nicely. And this is just a normal car wash chamois, the one you use to dry your car. I just cut it and to size. There we go, second bowl. And then this bat system I'm using is called a Dirty Girl's bat. I like it because I can throw a lot of stuff and they don't take up a lot of space. All right, third bowl. And I'm gonna adjust a few things before I get this one going. Test. There we go. That sounds better. Turn that down a little. All right, here we go. Continuing the bowls. Goal is to make 5. And I got another 25 more minutes before I have to start cleaning up for today. So really quick throwing sesh. And for everyone who's been watching my videos about centering, throwing, and all that stuff, thank you. And the way I throw production is different than the way I teach, only because I've been throwing for a while and I kind of refine techniques to help me make it a little more efficient. So when I teach it, I teach a simplified version. But the concepts are still all the same. Time for the texture. Pre-stretch this one to help me out. And now rice paddle to shape. Apologies for the airplane noise. That's really loud. Alright, this is bowl number 3. You can see my laser lines are helping me guide this to get it the exact size and shape. Got the width, and then my height's kind of off, which I don't mind when I throw a lot of these because I just cut it to level. So throwing production, you gotta let go of perfection a little bit. Now it's the hardest thing to get used to. Okay, crazy wobbly bowl. Now for the chamois, which I just lost. And clean up. Soak up all that water. Bowl number 3. Bowl number 4, let's go. All right, whoever is watching, if you can comment to let me know how the audio sounds. I'm not too loud, hopefully, or not too soft. First time's live streaming, so this is the test run. Whenever I throw these guys, I throw them to 1/2 inch thick at the bottom because I'm going to be trimming a foot. Hello, whoever joined. And the final dimensions after shaped is around 5 wide by a little more than 3 tall. And they're thrown with 1.25 pounds, so 1.25 pounds of clay. All right, that looks good. Let's go ahead and throw in the texture. Wavy lines are one of my favorite things to add to bowls because it adds a little more interest as you look at it, and the glazes that I pick for it really pick up that texture. There's another way to stretch, opening it up my fingers like that. And it looks crazy on the screen, but once we get the rice paddle into shape, it'll even everything out. And then I'm just stretching it to get to the laser lines that I set. This bottom edge got a little too far out, so I'll push that in. So height is good, just gotta get that width. There we go, hitting that vertical line. Just a little more. Perfect. Inside looks a little funky, so I gotta adjust that. I have to push out the bottom a little more, so I gotta stretch the top to compensate. Now it's pretty good. Let's go ahead and cut the rim and finish this off. Okay, smooth and compress with the sponge. And then finish it off with the chamois. Okay. Roll number 4. Ball number 5. Let's do it. I feel like I got a hard piece of clay in here, so I have to take this out. Where's my needle? You hear that metal rolling around outside. Okay, good. Don't forget to compress. I haven't been compressing very well. There we go. Now for the texture. All right, time to stretch. Start with the top. Soak up the inside and rice paddle. So all the same steps. And try to minimize the amount of changes I have to do. rock in this. Another hard piece of clay. Patch that real quick. Just filled some soft clay from my other bowl to patch that little dent from that hard piece of clay. All right, now let's stretch. Get in shape. Hello to whoever just joined. All right, looks like I got the width. Perfect. So on the screen, you can see my laser lines. Oh, this needle's super crooked. Okay, let's cut it to height. This is going to be really close. Might leave some residue. Oh, not too bad. Just gonna thin this out just a tad bit. And smooth. And then we're pretty much done with this one. All right, let's go ahead and cut. Well, number 5, hit our goal. Let's keep going. Got another 10 minutes. Let's see if we can do 8. I like pushing it. 3 bowls in 10 minutes. All right, let's try to go a little faster. So you can see I simplified the opening and pulling to almost happen at the same time. And that allows me to just throw a little quicker. All right, almost there. And the reason why I don't really throw it into a bowl shape as I pull is because I throw these texture lines on it. So I find it easier to put the texture when the wall is more vertical than it is bowl shape. This one's kind of bowl shape, but let's get the texture on. So you can see where that bottom kind of bumps out. It got pushed back in by the texture. And so that sometimes can make the bowl really funky looking. It's starting to look more like a T-bowl. All right, stretch this out. Looks really weird, but some rice paddle action. We'll get this back to a nice bowl. All right, got my height. Let's cut the top. Make it look a little less funky. Next time I gotta get a needle that's not crooked. All right, hello, whoever has joined. Where are you from? Oh, and they left. Oh, and they're back. Or maybe it's somebody else. Hello, whoever has joined. Where are you watching from? Oh, and they left again. All right, bowl number 6. Let's try to get to number 7 and 8 in 5 minutes. All right, bowl number 7. And as I'm centering this, you can see I don't really cone up and down. When I throw these smaller bowls, I just really compress and push down. It kind of saves some time. Open. You can see as I'm opening, the clay's starting to rise because I'm pulling the clay out with my inside hand, my left, and I'm pushing the clay in with my right. And so later on, I'll do a video on combining steps for those who are ready and wanting to learn how to throw a little faster. All right, there we go. And texture time. That was a big chunk. See it in the screen. Dry pieces of clay. And patch that when it dries. All right, let's shape. It's always funny. On the screen, this looks so bad. One pass with the rice paddle. Makes it look a lot prettier. I think this might be the best one yet. And of course, it's the number 7 out of the 5 I wanted to make. So always getting better once I get warmed up. And too bad I have to stop already. All right, I think I have time for one more bowl after this. So I hit my goal of 5, and we'll hit my second goal of 8 instead. Okay, looks like someone else joined us. Hello, whoever you are. Hopefully you are enjoying watching these bowls get made out of clay. All right, last bowl of the day, number 8. Lucky number 8. So I push down, seal, and center all at the same time. And sometimes if the clay gets really off, I cone up just a tad bit, bring it up, and I cone back down. That way I can basically just start digging my well right away. All right, so that was my open. Now for the open and pull. And I'm not too worried about how wobbly it gets, because when I shape it, it tends to even out. Okay, and then you can see my wall is above my laser line for my final height. And that's because when I start shaping, the clay will shrink a little bit in height or decrease. And then I will cut it. So all the bowls I made will be the same height. And then once I stretch it out, you'll see another vertical laser line come up, and that will be my width. This thing looks incredibly off right now, very wonky. Perfect for wabi-sabi tea bowls. So maybe I'll do a series on matcha tea bowls later to embrace the wobbliness. Let's go ahead and even it out now. You can see the horizontal and vertical line being hit by the clay. Bottom's pretty nuts, pretty wobbly, so push that in just a tad bit with my hands and I'll push it back out. I'll even it out. Some of the texture is going to get lost, but I'm not too worried about that. There we go. Now we're going to cut and show all the bowls that were made in this session. And this needle is so crooked, I'm not even cutting the wall straight. So note to self, don't use crooked needle to cut your walls. All right. Let's cut this last one off and get all the bowls out here. All right, thanks for watching. Here are the bowls I've made. 8 bowls in around 40 minutes, not too bad. Get a better view. Apologies for the poor camera work. There we go, there's 7. And number 8. Can it balance and not fall? We'll find out. Hopefully, the whole thing doesn't fall. I'll be very sad. Here we go. 8 bowls made. Thanks for watching, guys. Next live, hopefully we can trim all these 8 and get them ready for the kiln. Have a good one.